What's up, legends? Welcome to the demo cast. My name's Jack. I'm here with my co-host Alex. What's going on, man?
And just keeping it alive, you know it is.
I wouldn't expect anything less at this point.
I mean, if I'm keeping it unalive, that's a crime, my man. Fuck yeah. How's your day been?
Yeah, not too bad.
Hell yeah.
I had a bit of a nap after work. It was heaps good.
Sick. I got my brand new car beached in a mud puddle. I might post a photo of that because it was hilarious.
Yeah. Fuck it.
Sick. It's your show.
Yeah.
Get it?
Sick. Yeah. Well, before we get too into it.
That stretch hurt. Go.
Yeah, no. Been riding bikes a bit. I got both my new mountain bikes up and running.
Oh, hell yeah. I've also been riding Jack's bikes. Yeah. Oh, sorry. This is slightly just for you and I here. Did you change your suspension after I fucked with it all day?
No.
How did it feel?
It's stiff, but...
Yeah, boy.
I feel like, especially for people who ride mountain bikes all the time, my enduro would be set up so stiff, but because I'm coming from a BMX, it still feels like a lounge chair to me.
Yeah, that's fair.
So,
that's very fair.
I feel like if I rode the suspension set up properly, it would just be like...
Because that's essentially my plan with the Furious once I get it, is stiff forks. Just lock everything out.
And I guess because to some degree our plan is free ride, not fucking downhill.
Yeah.
So like you want it to be stiff. You're riding jump lines and stuff, you want it to be pretty stiff.
So I want to lift my mic up.
That's too late, we're recording. Also, you've dealt with it. Do not fucking touch it, I swear to God. Yeah, the DJ rips bar. I've been super stoked on the DJ. I posted
It's fucking sick, man. It just looks so good.
Yeah, it's so fun to ride as well.
Everyone enjoys it. I can't believe how light it is.
Yeah, it's pretty hectic. For sure. Cool.
Are you ever going back to BMX? Are we allowed to say this? What's your thoughts?
At the moment, I'm like enjoying riding the mountain bikes. I don't know if I'll never ride a BMX again.
That's fair.
Yeah,
that's fair.
The mountain bikes are pretty fun, but
are we just going to breeze past Sleeper, or are you going to make any bold claims?
Well, I did say by the last episode it was going to be launched, which technically we're filming this episode before the last episode actually went up, and I'm standing by it. I got a bit of work to do this weekend, but
but so you're saying with confidence, it's already launched.
It's already live when this podcast comes out. I'm pretty sure I said that last one.
Yeah.
It's well live by the time this one comes out.
It's been alive for a week by this point.
Yeah.
Quick.
Yep.
And this might be just at a bleep track here if this is something we should edit out. Are we trying to aim for Friday uploads just as like to mention a bit of a schedule we want to try or?
Yeah. That is my plan because so for a bit of context, we always film on a Friday and I was kind of like, to begin with, just kind of editing them over the weekend. They were usually up by Monday. But then if I had a busy weekend and it didn't happen, like it kind of threw the whole schedule off. So I think we're going to film Friday and then they'll be scheduled for the following Friday.
Yeah.
But I did that this week, and instead of getting it done early and scheduling it for Friday, it's now Friday, and I was on my lounge editing the podcast before I came here.
I expect absolutely no different from you.
So instead of being organised and scheduling the podcast for when it needed to go up, I waited until it needed to go up and then went, fuck, I should edit that.
I just wanted to call you out on some shit. But no, schedule's good.
There'll probably still be like a week here or there that we miss, like especially when there's events on or if we got whatever. Then
100%. You want to talk about some stuff today? So
yeah, sweet. Cool. So I guess this is something that we have talked about a bit before, and so I've gotten a lot of this kind of concept from Rob Deerdeck.
For those that are listening and not watching,
entire portion of my cat just flew out of my jaw.
Yeah, Jack has a lovely cat, Felix.
Who's the hairiest.
I'm just going to say this, insert picture here.
I'm not doing that.
I know you're not, but I try to bait you into it. But yeah, and every now and then a whole cat will fly off Jack of just hair. And I was like, he's going to ignore it. He's going to ignore it and not stop.
I thought it was a ghost.
That's fair. Oh, carry on. I was want to mention that child ghost when our first ever episode.
Oh, yeah.
That
was screaming outside.
Yeah,
That was
Jesus. Go, Jack.
Cool. So I got most of this concept from Rob Dyrdek, and which he's kind of pulled up on the podcast, which I'm a little bit bummed about. But the last one that he did release, which was quite a while ago now, he said he was working on something new, and I haven't seen nothing. So
that's cool.
Must be real new.
Busy man.
Yeah. So he calls this concept mind share, and it's essentially your brain's currency.
Yep.
And just like any other currency, you can spend it, you can earn it. And for me, I don't know, I think mind share for me doesn't roll off the tongue very well. Whenever I have kind of internalized this, I always think about it as in it's my mental capacity.
Mind share does feel slightly like an ad for a project tool.
Yeah.
And just link your mind share to your project. Yeah. And your Gantt charts. Yeah. Yeah.
Fuck Gantt charts.
That's a whole episode in itself, bro. Oh, shit. Did some fucking PTSD just come out of me then. Carry on. So, what do you like to call it?
So I think about it because I guess this is something that probably not something that I vocalize a lot. It's more something that I think internalize a little bit. Like it's something that I'll think about. So to me, I kind of think about it as my mental capacity. And that doesn't have anything to do with intelligence because I don't have any of that.
Not required. This is not a prerequisite of this.
Intelligence is not a arguably, the less intelligence you have, the more mental capacity I reckon you have.
Well, there's more room.
Yeah, there's heaps more room.
Fucking
and you're probably not thinking real hard about much, but
you're not spending it, are you?
No. So yeah, I guess that's the way that I kind of think about it, and what it is to me is my ability to handle stress and or problem solve is usually the way that I kind of think about it, or just my capacity to deal with things in general.
Sorry, is it like an action capacity, like so to deal with it as in like an action, or just like internalized deal with it, like how you like approach it or something, or is it actually like your physical movement towards it?
I don't think your brain knows the difference.
Okay, cool.
I don't think your brain knows the difference between mental stress and physical stress. Physical stress as in exercise, any of those types of things. I think you use the same amount of energy per unit of stress, whatever you want to fucking like assign that to.
Yeah.
I think like per unit of stress, your brain doesn't know the difference.
Okay.
I think physical stress has a better outcome for you. I don't think like being mentally stressed is necessarily good for you, where exercise obviously is.
Yeah.
But I think as far as like energy consumed goes, I think your brain kind of, because you can run yourself into the ground real hard stressing about stuff, like you'll just sap all of your energy.
Yeah, it's the problem that has the different expense.
Yeah.
How much you have to spend on it doesn't change.
Yeah.
Just the value of each component.
So I guess it can be either. So it can be something as simple as like, because like there's some days that you'd be like, oh, I've got to go to I actually have to go to the post office this weekend, and because motherfucker, Oz Post.
You got to pick something up?
Yeah.
What
just
the fuck?
fucking leave
just
it.
deliver the package. Cunts.
Also, it's like a $20 item. Just fucking leave it at my door.
Frisbee it, bro. Frisbee it.
So yeah, could be like something as simple as that. Whether like there's some days that I'll just be like, oh, Matt, I got to go to the post office because like I got to pick something up, or like I got to just do some random errand. Matt, I'll fucking vibe to some tunes while I'm in the car. I'll go and grab a coffee. I'll go and do my thing or whatever. And there's some days that I'm like, fuck the post office.
Yeah.
I could not think of anything worse. So it's just your capacity to do that in any sense. So it could be like an errand like that. It could be something that you have to deal with mentally. It could be like an email you need to respond to, or like some sort of problem solving in that regard, where, you know, you might have a client that you're dealing with and be like, you've got to send a hard email to, you know, real expectations into line, or, you know, something like that, some uncomfortable thing that you have to deal with. Or I think potentially exercise falls out of that category a little bit. I think there's definitely a mental component of like, you need to have a certain amount of mind share to be able to get yourself to the gym or get out on a run, just to get over that hurdle of getting started.
Yeah.
But I think there's a little bit of a feedback loop in that, where once you do get over that hurdle, you are then you're then earning.
It's a little bit of a rebate in that.
Yeah. That's the perfect word for it. You get a rebate. There's a little bit of a hurdle that you've got to get over to get in, but once you're in, you're earning.
Yeah.
Which I think is a big one, is a real big one for earning, is a exercise for sure.
I have some questions later on, because I'm curious of how you earn, but I'm sure that slowly comes up somewhere. Yeah,
100%. But do you resonate with that at all? Do you feel like you have that? Katie, my wife, talks about, like, she calls it her bottle, and she'll be like, my bottle's full, and she just like you can't, like, it's like, what are we having for dinner? And it's like, just a fucking meltdown is
toast.
We're having a meltdown for dinner is what we're fucking having.
So, knuckle sandwich and ask that again. I call it spoons, brother.
Yeah.
So
I think everyone's got a little bit of a different analogy for it.
Yeah.
I like I think the mental image I have for it is I have like a little bit of a status bar in my mind, and I can kind of visualize that, like how close are we getting to the red end of the fucking.
Yeah. I think spoons work for me. This is like the same reason why, instead of calling people stupid cunts, I call them gooses. Is I have to give it
a silly name.
I have to give it a silly name so it disarms it a little bit to me, because I'm prone to be a silly goose from time to time. So like I have to like give it like a disarming thing to be like, I'm out of spoons. In like mentally visualizing, I don't know why that sounded weird.
Probably because you said it weird.
Probably. Spoons feel like a cluster, like you can't half spoon something. Where, but nope. Hold your shit together, cunt. Where like mind share feels like
a bit more rigid.
Yeah, I feel like it has like a more solid like value to it than a spoon. A spoon feels like you
can load a spoon up. You can put a little bit on it.
Yeah, actually, that's probably a good thing. How full is the spoon?
And how many spoons you got?
Yeah. Here we go. All right, fuck, we're learning stuff here. Yeah, it's just 100%. I can see both of them. Spoons is just easy for me. Like, come on, and be like, I don't have a fucking spoon to give at this point.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Cool. I've actually heard you talk about that. I've forgotten until just now, but I've heard you be like, I don't have any spoons.
No spoons in this bitch. Yeah.
My sister, whenever her kids lose the plot.
I forget you have a sister from time to
time. Whenever her kids lose the plot, as kids do, she says that they've run out of tokens. Yeah.
But I enjoy, this is a quick brief. I want everyone that could be fucked to, I want a message of what you call this.
Yeah.
One, because I also think it's a good thing for your circle to know what's up. Because as a quick one to just be like, if I was looking like shit or whatever, and you just be like, no spoons, man. Like just as a quick, like you could have a quick check in on your mates with that as well. Everyone message me. I want to know what the fuck you call it.
Yeah. What's your unit of capacity?
Yeah. I enjoy that.
How many goats per hectare?
Yeah.
Have you got?
Oh man. Right, carry on.
Oh, fucking hell.
Fuck, we're silly gooses.
I think for me as well, the amount of that mental capacity I have affects the access that I have to flow states as well. Mm-hmm. So I find a lot, the more consumed I am in whatever it is that's stressing me out. Sometimes I don't even know what it is. Like sometimes you're just like, fuck, I have nothing left to give.
Yeah.
And like, I don't even know why. Usually it makes itself apparent to me weeks later.
Yeah.
And I'm like, could have used that information.
Yeah. A month ago.
Yeah, motherfucker.
Yeah.
But yeah, I guess the further into the red I get, which is my upper end of the spectrum when I'm starting to run out of capacity, is the less access I have to flow state. I don't know if that sentence really made much sense. The higher I fucked it again. I was going to say the higher my capacity.
So the lower your so if we're using your capacity as like
if I'm at 90%,
bank,
if I'm at 90% capacity,
yeah,
then my access to flow state is at 10%.
Interesting.
They're kind of inverse.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because mine is a diminishing spoon count.
Yeah.
Yours is an increasing capacity count.
Yeah.
Interesting.
Yeah. Yeah. Which
Okay.
I guess is a similar analogy to like the bottle being full.
Yeah, of course.
So like once it's full, I can know there's no more that you can do.
No more.
And actually, I think I texted you about this today. Potentially, I was listening to a podcast. This whole podcast is me regurgitating shit I heard on other podcasts.
That was a funny message back and forth from us there.
But it kind of, I think that gets a lot tied into, because obviously the more stressed you are, that's going to have a negative impact on your happiness as well. I think overall. But
Can confirm.
yeah, yeah. But this concept I texted you about today was like, and this changed my mind a lot about how this fucking works. Is that I have my essentially a status bar from like how much of my capacity has been used up from 0 to 100%, and I've always pictured happiness and sadness on a similar sliding scale, and at one end of the spectrum you have happiness and at the other end of the spectrum you have sadness, but they're actually two separate scales, and separate things impact each scale differently.
Yep.
So you need to do things that increase happiness, and then you need to do different things that decrease sadness.
Yeah.
Because you can do things that increase your happiness but don't decrease your sadness, and then you just end up in, and it's weird shit like scrolling on Instagram or like that kind of cheap dopamine. It's like, well, this makes me feel happy right now, but it doesn't decrease the amount of like, if you're really sad as well, then you just like, you have the foot on the accelerator and the brake at the same time.
Yeah.
And you're fucked basically at that point. And I've got myself in that position so many times. It feels so bad.
When I was visualizing this, because as soon as you mentioned it, I was like, yeah, they're not the same. They're not the same slide.
It's not the same spectrum.
100%. And I was like, can you be happy and sad at the same time? And then I remembered my life, and you surely can. Sorry. That's going to be really hard to not see the joke I was trying to make there. Anyway, let's carry on. But I find that you can be like sad, but if you are then trying to give into your happiness, whether it's temporary happiness or anything, though that slide might not be as far filled as the sadness, but because it's being functioned now, it takes precedent and sort of sits at the front, and you'll be like, oh, now I'm 10% happy. You're still 50% sad, cunt. Yeah. But like, it's just because you played with that, you got your little brain lollies out to begin with, and then once you stop that, comes the sad again.
And I think that really, for me, a lot ties into what we're talking about as well. Like I feel like all of that, obviously it's all your fucking like mind state, really.
Yeah.
So I feel like it is all obviously very connected. But in the same sense of like, I try and use, like, caffeine is a big one for me. Like, I really enjoy caffeine. I consume quite a lot of caffeine as we're having mornings at 8 p.m.
What adrenal glands.
But, like, a big thing for me is, and this will tie all back into the mental capacity thing a little bit in a minute, but a big thing for me is I really try and use caffeine to compound when I'm in a good mood or when I already when I already am in a high energy state.
Mm-hmm.
That was really hard to get out. So yeah, when I am in a high energy state, that's when I usually that's when I find the most effect from
Salt Bay a little bit more caffeine in that.
For sure. And I try and do that instead of trying to use caffeine to drag myself out of a hole. Like if I do have a morning at work where I'm just like, man, I'm so tired this morning, or like whatever, like I haven't slept properly, or I'm like stressed, which is also going to affect your sleep. But like any of those things. And if I find myself at my desk just going, fuck, I'm struggling this morning, I try not to use caffeine to pull me out of that hole, because usually it doesn't pull me out of the hole. And I feel like that's when you start getting like weird, what's the fucking word I'm looking for?
Oh, sorry, the intrusive thoughts nearly won that one. Sorry. I'm in a fucking mood.
I've lost the word. I don't know how words work.
That's they're just sort of sounds that people recognise. What can you give us a broad of what you were trying to say, like a meaning to it? Or
that's like when like addiction, like weird addiction things start happening. The addiction is like not the word I was looking for.
Dependency.
That's one.
Fuck, I'm good at this game, mate.
Sounds like 3 syllables.
Yeah.
Anyway, so that whole sentence is a little bit more coherent. I'm going to start again. I try not to use caffeine to pull myself out of a low mood, because that's when I feel like you get weird dependency issues. I would rather use caffeine to compound a good high energy mood that I'm already in, and then kind of like, step that up a couple of notches and have a fucking really good day. But I also feel like that's a little bit one of those things where you're standing on the accelerator and the brake at the same time with like your happiness, sadness sliders with, not that I guess it's necessarily sadness, but you're having a bit of a rough morning. There's probably a bit of sadness happening on your slider. And then you're like caffeine and you're just fucking ramming a bunch of happiness over the top of it.
Yeah.
But you still feel like shit.
Yeah. I have 2 things on that. I like the analogy of the brake and the throttle at the same time, because it is, because one is to go, one is to hold you back.
Yep.
I do very much enjoy that analogy. On your dependencies, fuck, I nearly lost the word then too. That same, like when you're in the hole and you're like, I'll rely on this to pull me out, is like a gate. I've mentioned this to you previously, as a gateway of how like I started smoking. Essentially, it was the same thing. It was like, bad thing happened, have a durry to cure it. Bad thing, and like that was here's your throttle, here's your little go pedal, which was the durry at the time to pull you out of the thing. And that's I 100% resonate with the dependencies on that. And they for sure. I don't even know why I drink coffee anymore, because I don't have it at any reasonable time. I will have one. I think I just enjoy the taste of like coffees now.
This is a little bit of a sidebar, but
wouldn't be us.
Yeah. There is a thing with any drink that has caffeine in it. Even though you can't detect the taste, your brain has like a stronger affiliation for it.
Yeah, okay.
Is that the right word?
Potentially. Imagine if you had like a computer in front of you that you could just look words up when you're trying to do stuff. For those that aren't watching, Jack has a laptop in front of him this whole fucking time. I enjoy it, but I drink like just iced long blacks. I drink absolute dirt water. Love it.
Yeah.
It's like Stockholm syndrome.
Yeah.
That's where you're in love with your captor?
Sorry?
Jack wasn't listening to anything I just
no idea.
said.
I was trying to read, which I can't do, but I was going to say, I don't know why I decided to start a podcast when words defeat me on the regular.
To be fair,
it's because you talked me into it.
You protested the podcast. And arguably still protest. But I'm enjoying you talking for most of this episode.
I think it helped. In general, the podcast has helped me just be a bit better at communicating and like using words a bit more.
Can I side detour here?
Yeah.
Like wildly. A long time ago, because for those that don't know, I am a horrendous reader. I struggle to read, and even more so, I struggle to read out loud.
Yeah, okay.
It's so slow because my dyslexia is real bad, and so I have to like say each word like pause, right, to get through it. It's real bad. Definitely something super self-conscious of. And one time I was like, I know how to get over this. I'm going to start like live streaming or podcasting and me reading a book. And to the point, so that way I have a track of it, me doing it. But also like just put yourself out in this like horrible situation to be like sink or swim, motherfucker, like get it done. And always want to do it, but I was always far too scared to do it just because I started to get older too, and everyone's like, why
can't you read?
Why is this 30-year-old struggling to read Cat in a Hat? Which is, I can't. Reading's so hard for me. And numbers, sweet, but like, but like on that, like arguably, and still to this day, I think about it, like that is 100% the way to do it. And like people, like the same, we have people that reach out and be helpful with us here. People would have done the same thing and be like, maybe try this one. Like this is an easier step. Fuck, I'm a bitch. Why didn't I do that? Fear. That's why I didn't do it. Sorry, you just made that pop into my head immediately. Words aren't for me today either.
Yeah, but yeah, genuinely though, and I think like I've never been super good at articulating myself very well, and I feel like this has helped for sure.
Yeah, definitely.
And like, I don't know if I've made massive progress, but like comparatively, I feel like
I think you speak differently, especially in this forum now. Especially, I reckon if you went back to episode 2, and
I'm so like scared of listening to the early. I mean, we are still early, but
yeah, but like even that 3-month difference of I would have to like lean over to you for things and be like, what are your thoughts? And then you would talk and then like pull back. But now he's not shutting the fuck up. Sorry, man. I want to tell me if I'm jumping ahead of anywhere you want to talk about here. I want to talk about like in your mind share, like how like acquiring currency or decreasing capacity. They're the same thing.
Yeah. So this was where I was starting to roll into. So I kind of jumped ahead a little bit. I had caffeine a little bit further down in my notes, but it kind of fit what we were talking about. So massive things for me. The first big one for me to increase mind share is meditation and or mindfulness. Arguably the same thing, but like depending on, there's so many different ways that you can meditate. It was on my Bucks.
It was on your Bucks.
It was on my Bucks trip actually. And I can't remember what we got into. I think you were just having a bit of a rough go just with work and like a few things. And I was like, you should learn how to meditate because like it lets you kind of like let go of this shit a little bit. And it gives you that capacity back. Like it
like a sense of freedom.
It's
I feel it is mental weightlessness.
Yeah, for sure. It definitely helps clear out all of like the unnecessary shit. Like the is just consuming fucking brain power
like
for me.
Organizes clutter.
Yeah, for sure. It's like when you do like a defrag on your fucking. Have you done like
what the fuck is a defrag?
You do it on. You used to have to do it on fucking old Windows PCs. And it's just like reorder everything in your fucking hard drive, and then you would have like heaps of space left because it would just like delete old shit that you don't need and like.
I just delete browser history. It does most of that for me. Sorry, keep going with your story, even though I know it's against me.
But anyway, you were like having a bit of a shit go with like a few things at work, and were like stressed and just fucking up to your eyeballs in it basically. And I was like, should fucking like. Look into the shit, and you were kind of like, I just fucking wouldn't even know where to start or like how to learn or like any of this shit. And then you were like,
it was like a separate day because we were in bed, not together, but not exclusively not together. there was one doorway.
There was a doorway between us.
Sorry, carry on.
Fuck, you threw me so bad. I'm pretty sure it was. Anyway, fuck, whatever.
It was at Owen's
these details house. These details don't fucking matter to the story at all. Fucking hell.
I'm just trying to fuck with the story.
Anyway, I was telling you that you should learn how to meditate, and you basically told me like I wouldn't even know where to start. I don't know how to learn. I don't know where to learn. I don't know nothing. And then you went, but I do this thing to go to sleep, and it's the only way I can go to sleep. And it was you, and I was like, "Oh, you mean meditating?"
Yeah, which is weird. I'll happily explain it because you're giving me that look like tell the people.
Well, so for I guess the type of meditation that you were doing is a visualization, is what you were doing.
Yeah. See, I obviously I didn't know I was meditating. Jack is very pro meditation. Sick, love that. And I had tried it before. With your guidance, not like. You like gave me things to listen to and stuff like that. All that threw me then. And I always struggled with it. I have like my brain just gets rebellious of me trying to have it relax itself. And yeah, in this conversation with Jack, I was like, I can't do that. But like the only way I can go to sleep, and still to this day, the only way I can go to sleep is I have to envision myself like walking through a forest. Essentially, while saying this, I can see it in my head.
It's super vivid.
It's like a green forest. It's a beautiful dirt track, and there's like a castle out in the distance because I don't know where I am. It's in the middle of fucking not a realm that we live in now, but I'm just strolling through this thing. I can hear the birds and stuff, and like it's daytime, the sun's out, and I'm just strolling. You can hear like the ground underneath. It is. So, because I've been doing it for like 15 plus years, every detail about it is 100%. Interesting. I always fall asleep pretty much at the same point as well. So I know I can see it. I'm like, well, there's sleep there. Like that's how accurate it is.
Walking towards the sleep. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. But I just thought that was how you have to get my mind to sleep. Turns out that called meditation.
Literally is meditation.
The more you know.
And I guess it's one of those things where like you do really have to learn what the best type of meditation like is for you. Mm-hmm. Because it is such a broad thing. It's like saying, "Oh, you should exercise."
Yeah.
Exercise is good for you. You should do it. And then you're like, I tried it once. It wasn't really for me.
Yeah. But what did you try?
Well, yeah.
How did you try it?
Yeah. Yeah, but I tried to run a marathon.
Yeah. Yeah. Absolutely.
And like, there definitely is like marathon runners of meditation that do full unguided for like hours at a time. And it's like, I can't do that. That's it's so hard. I really enjoy visualization. The app I use actually to meditate has a cool visualization that I really enjoy. Mm-hmm. That they do like a guided tour of the moon. And you're like in a little space buggy. And
that's sick.
It's fucking dope. And yeah, it's like I have such vivid visuals of that. Mm-hmm. And yeah, it's cool. They like obviously talk you through the scenery and stuff because it's audio. But
it's definitely
they have like little beeps and clicks and stuff.
That's
like
cool.
Like the little fucking buggy that you're in.
That interests the fuck out of me.
Yeah, it's actually really sick.
I definitely think it's something that like everyone, especially when they go into bed, just lay down and just try and envision yourself somewhere. But like better if it's not somewhere that you can actually be. Don't be like, I'm be at work in 4 hours. Don't do that.
That'll fuck up your sleep.
Yeah, real quick. But like put yourself somewhere that can't exist. Like
the moon can exist, but like
can it? Pretty sure it's made up.
Pretty sure it's cheese.
Yeah. Heaps of mice up there. Sorry. But like somewhere that you can't stand tomorrow, essentially. Like, so that's why mine is just, there ain't no castles. Not in this country.
There's a castle down the road from here.
Fake news. I've seen that sign, but hey.
But there's a legit castle like
that's dope.
Literally down the road from your house.
You're fucking up my story, Jack.
Sorry. There's also one at Tambourine.
So, because no castles existed. So that's my, fuck, God, this is horrendous. If this episode airs, you know that it got better. It doesn't get better. Why I'm saying put yourself somewhere else is because if you start to envision somewhere that you can be, I think you will just hone into that thing. It'll create stress.
And you'll also just start thinking about things that actually exist in real life as well. You need to be in a place that doesn't exist so you don't think about things that exist.
Yes.
I think it gives it a nice little zoom out as well, to be honest.
Yeah. It removes you from your shit. You can't be stressed in that world.
And I think just the feeling of being like within stress, I feel like is very much like an embodiment for me anyway of the term like you can't see the forest for the trees. Like you get so ingrained in it that you need a bit of a zoom out to just be like, it's chill, or like to actually see what the solution is, or like sometimes you don't even need a solution. Sometimes you just need fucking stop worrying about it.
Have a breath. Yeah.
So I find that's a big one for me. It gives me like a nice little zoom out. It gives me a bit more of like a big picture.
Yeah.
And I, from a bit of a third person perspective, you might be able to see things that aren't serving you, like things that you are holding on to.
Yeah.
And they're not serving you. They're not helping you move forward. They're only kind of like contributing to the amount of things that you have consuming your capacity. So that's probably the biggest one for me, to be honest, is meditation. To earn this mind share or to have a surplus of mental capacity. I do find, however, usually the more resistance I feel to meditation, if I have the thought to myself of like, I should go and do it, or like before bed tonight, like I need to fucking, like find something to listen to, sit down, do the thing. The more my brain objects to that, the more I need to do it.
Yeah, I find that with the gym. The more I'm like, I don't want to fucking go. It's going to be so shit. Man, if I just walked around the block, I'd be feeling 100 times better. Yeah.
Yeah. And so I find that's usually a real good indicator for me. And it usually makes me real cranky because I'm like, fuck this shit. I don't want to sit down and fucking think about nothing. It's fucking lame.
I've got things to edit.
Yeah. I get like real cranky about it where I'm like, I fucking couldn't think of anything. Like I just get so wound up and I'm like, that's when I really know that like it's kind of
needed,
desperate at that point. Moving on from that, which is also a big one, these are all kind of big ones to be fair, is exercise. But I think for me, I don't know if it was I wouldn't necessarily say it's a lesser of a tool than meditation for me. It's probably one that I use less. That's probably a lie as well.
I have a little comment here.
Yep.
That may resonate with you. I find that exercising is like investing, in the sense of when you first do it, you're scared. There's lots of things, and you might not get a return, but you had to pay something out for it.
Yeah.
The more you understand what is happening within that market, the better your chances are of returning some investment. Because it costs a little bit to go. It'll cost some capacity to go do the workout, but you get your rebate. You get a little bit back. Sometimes you get a lot back. It's a little bit of a guess, but your likeliness to return on the investment of going and spending some of your capacity to exercise, the more you do it, the greater that return generally is.
Yeah, for sure.
Which is why, like, I think sometimes it's like, I know that your like block walks, like you walking, sweet, you know how to invest in that. You know how to get a return on that.
I know the return.
Exactly.
And it's the same again. Like the bigger that hurdle is to get in, the more I need to do it.
Where like I feel like if you were to be like, right, I'll go do like a bunch of weights, I know you can do them, but your return might not be as much because it might put on like a part stress to go do that because it's still...
It's a bit of an unknown.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah.
Cool. Next one is like proper sleep is a massive one for... I feel like for everyone, but for me, I find proper sleep is a massive one for my mental capacity. And something that I've found myself kind of grappling with a little bit recently, and I don't know if maybe, I don't think it's necessarily become, like my sleep has become an issue recently, but I think I've just become a little bit more tuned into how it makes me feel. So I've been grappling with it a little bit more, if that kind of makes sense.
Can you expand on that?
So, no.
I seen that no dialed up from way back.
No, I can't.
And let's move on.
Yeah.
I find that if I sleep, so like 6 hours, which is weird, 6 hours seems to be my maximum return.
Yeah, okay.
Any more than that, I don't get more. And
you don't get a bigger return.
I don't get a bigger return.
Yeah.
And sometimes my return might be slightly diminished as well.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah.
I find like I tend to need quite a lot of sleep.
Sleepy boy.
And I don't know if maybe that ties into a little bit like how we're talking about like our happiness, sadness sliders. I tend to trend towards having a low mood most of the time. And I have to like actively do things in my life to steer that back in the opposite direction to actually, so I feel good. Like it's not, and maybe this is the case for most people, but yeah, I tend to like unprovoked, I will tend to drift off in like a negative direction as far as my mood goes.
Oh, fuck yeah. I'll do that shit all the time.
Yeah. So that's something that I have to actively steer back in the right direction. And sleep contributes to that quite a lot for me. And I tend to find that I need like, if I'm doing less than 7 hours, I'm having a shit day the next day.
Okay.
I can maybe get away with 1 or maybe 2 nights of like 6 hours, but usually like if I have more than 1 or 2, I'm like
back to up. Yeah.
And that's usually most because I finish work early on a Friday. Most Fridays I just go home and sleep because like we go to the village on a Wednesday night.
So Thursday's your 6 hour cooked session?
Yeah. So I usually get less sleep on a Wednesday night because I get up quite early for work and like there's another bit of my cat. Whatever. It's floating around.
Sorry, guys.
Yeah, so Wednesdays are usually like a bit of a shit night for me because we get back from the village a bit late. I'm like hyped up because I've been riding and like, I'm not
had some brain lollies. You're
not
ready to lay down.
Endorphins happening.
Yeah.
So like by the time I get home, I have a shower. I always like fuck around for a while, and then like by the time I actually get to sleep, like it's not super late, but it's like chewed into my sleep enough that like Thursdays are a bit of a battle usually.
Yep.
And then like by Friday I'm usually pretty cooked, but I think I definitely lean more towards needing like on the higher end of needing sleep because like there's obviously like a bit of a sweet spot for everyone. I tend to find I'm on the higher amount of sleep end of that.
I might just be fucking stupid, but I find that the more mental exhaustion, did I pronounce that right?
Sure.
The more mental capacity I put out, the more mental stress I have, the more sleep benefits me. But the more physical exertion, maybe that's the word. I'm probably saying all these words wrong, the less sleep.
Yeah.
And so because I tend to try and balance my days to be more physical than mental, I can
get away with less sleep.
Because my body's ran down and sweet like that, but my mind, my faculties are still on point. So
yeah, I guess that kind of makes sense that like you when you do have like more like mental load, you need more time asleep for your brain to fucking process that and kind of file it all away in a spot that fucking makes sense.
Yeah, that's it. Yeah, because if there's a lot of mental like shit going on, I'll just be putting stuff down everywhere. Like it is not an organized mess up there.
Yeah.
So there's only a few things. Then like it's easy to weed through that to get to my relaxing state.
I think to some degree, exercise does help sort out a little bit of that as well. So to some degree, probably a very small amount, but you can replace some of that sleep with exercise. which I think seems very counterintuitive.
Yeah.
But essentially, most of the time that you're asleep is your brain basically processing all the fucking information that you've consumed for the day.
Mm-hmm.
So if you can process some of that information by exercising, you can kind of like swap a little bit out.
Yeah.
You can probably only get away with like an hour or two, but you can probably replace an hour or two of sleep with an hour or two of exercise.
Yeah.
I don't think you're going to get away with any more than that.
No, and I probably wouldn't try that.
No, I wouldn't recommend exercising for 8 hours a night instead of sleeping.
Quick disclaimer, we're not doctors, hey.
But I think you definitely can do that. I think you can take some of that processing time out of sleep and put it into exercise.
Yeah, as far as like the trash side of it goes, exercise and that physical exertion, whatever the fuck the word is.
That's definitely the word.
It sounds wrong. Like when you say chimney heaps. Sorry. But that physical side of it, it is your... Notice I'm just bailing on it now.
The chimney fucking got me.
It is like taking your trash out. It will just remove the thing. Weirdly, it's the things that you've been stressing about the most turns out to be the biggest bits of trash in there. And you'll lift something heavy or you'll go for a run. And then you're like, don't die. And then all of a sudden that shit's not there anymore.
Yeah.
Maybe don't die is just what I say in my head. But like, that physical side of it definitely for me just cleans away. And I'm sure there's a lot of like weightlifters or trainers of any sort that have that thought process too. Like when you stress, you're like, I'm going to go fucking smash this workout out. And you do it and you're feeling better after.
Yeah.
You're physically not, but mentally you're locked back in.
I reckon this is a little bit of a sidebar. I think there's probably two parts to that. I think part of that is that you're reducing the processing time that your brain needs while you're asleep by dealing with some of that while you're awake. Mm-hmm. But also, because you have now exhausted your body, you're probably getting into a deeper sleep and sleeping better as well. So it's probably a little bit of a double where like, you're taking away a little bit of that processing time from being asleep, but also sleeping better because you have used up the energy.
Hitting it from both ends.
Yeah. Hell yeah. And then, obviously like caffeine comes into that as well, which we touched on. But that's definitely, obviously don't have fucking monies at 8 p.m.
Can't relate.
Yeah.
Mine's empty.
I got a little bit left. But to be fair, within reason, I feel like
of course.
Like this is our Friday night. We sit down, we have a morning. I can sleep in the morning. It doesn't really matter if it fucks up my sleep. Like
I'm more likely to get a better night's sleep having this at 8 than if I went and had an ice cream.
Yeah. Yeah.
That's probably the lactose intolerance, but still, like because I won't feel shit off this. I'll be able to go to sleep and nothing will affect me in that point. But like if I had like a handful of lollies during this sitting, I'd be fucking wrecked, man.
Yeah, interesting.
Yeah.
Or like even alcohol, like neither of us are big drinkers, but you would think, I guess like the general consensus probably is that like, alcohol makes you relaxed. You probably sleep well. You'll be unconscious.
Yeah.
Sleep is arguable.
Yeah. Yeah. A relaxing state is negligible.
Yeah. So, and that's a big thing that like I have seen like a lot of stuff about recently is like the effect that alcohol has on your quality of sleep as well. So, I guess if you are like the kind of person who like enjoys a drink after work or whatever, I would probably be fairly mindful of that. Just from like not that I fucking know anything about anything, but just from other shit that I've heard.
You heard it here, Dr. Jack said.
Yeah, Dr. Jack.
You're right though.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I think people probably... I've never really been a big drinker, but I guess the thing is most people probably use it as a bit of a wind down aid.
Yeah. This is where it becomes, what was the word we used? A dependency.
A dependency,
It's because you're like, I had a long day of work.
I need it to wind down.
Yeah, and then so you'll go have this relax, and then it becomes now you can't relax after work unless you have it.
Yeah, but it is also... It's having a negative effect on the amount of like...
positive you can put in.
Yeah, because it does affect your sleep so much that you're like, I need this to wind down. And then like, I guess you could shine that in a positive light where you're like, well, it helps me wind down after work, and then like I'm a bit more relaxed and whatever. But then the quality of sleep that you get is then not what you need. So then the following day you're going to wake up like
already behind.
You're already in a deficit. You know what I mean? You're waking up in debt essentially.
Already on the brake pedal.
Yeah. So then you kind of like grind through your day and you're like, oh fuck, that was hard. I need beers after work.
Yeah, because I need to wind down.
Because that was a fucking hard day.
Yeah.
And then you just get yourself into this like repeating
loop. Yeah.
And you can do that with so much shit. You can do that with caffeine, obviously, if you're consuming it too late in the day or too much. Or I don't find, I mean, maybe I'm just ignorant to it. I don't find caffeine affects my sleep massively. But who's to say that like I go to sleep, but who's to say it doesn't affect the quality of my sleep?
I bet it'd affect it worse if it was like a Red Bull or something. Monty's bar.
Yeah, not a Monty.
Monster Energy, the perfect sleeping aid.
I don't think that's it. In any of their marketing
That is
material.
not factual. It's not a paid presentation.
So yeah, that's you can get into a lot of those things, I think, where you end up on the accelerator and the brake at the same time. And I feel like scrolling on Instagram, scrolling on TikTok, all those things before bed, like, or just in general, really, if you're over consuming any of that stuff, like that.
I challenge everyone to have a think about what are your brake and gas pedal situations, but like be very real with yourself in it. Like if you lie about one of them, you're only lying to yourself about it. Like be honest, be like, what is the shit that I do here that could be hindering me of what I'm doing? Because like some people are like, oh, scroll because I get to unwind and stuff like that. But is it though? Is it? Like, what are you doing whilst you're on there? I use a scroll because it's so easy for that to have a negative impact. You can hear Jack typing away.
Yeah, I just had an idea and I forget ideas immediately, so I need to write it down.
That's fair.
One more thing, and then like one more point I've got, and then I've got like a little thing that I want to do to wrap up.
But I've also got a little wrap up beforehand as well.
All right, cool. So the last thing that I've got here for like things that help me like increase the amount of mental capacity I have is surrounding myself with like-minded people that want to see me do well and I want to see them do well. So this is such a big one for me that like, and this is essentially how this podcast started, was us just like having these conversations about like cool shit that we want to try and do, or like it's so encouraging to me seeing other people like get after shit that they're getting after. Even if I'm so uninterested in whatever it is that they're getting after.
For sure.
But if I can genuinely tell that someone's like passionate about something and they're like, I'm doing this fucking thing because it's rad and I think it's cool.
Yeah.
I fucking love to be around that. Like more than anything, to be honest. And that's such an encouraging like environment to be in. Because like, just as for like, I think I'm quite an ambitious person. And just to be around people that are like that as well.
I cannot tell you how well that will segue into my section.
Yeah, sick. Well, you go first then, and then I'll...
Holy shit, that's good. So I have a couple guests coming on the books of like in some episodes, but I wanted to put it out there if anyone has like something interesting that they want to talk about, reach out.
Yeah, for sure.
Because like I don't know everyone's story, so like I don't know if everyone's got some interesting stuff to talk about. A few people that I have spoke to about coming on might not have been like to the level of some other people and being concerned of that, but no one gives a fuck what level. Again, we like-minded people. We like people that get after it. We want to hear the stories of when shit was bad, when shit was good, and how you handle your stuff, what you're doing, what you want to do, and all that stuff. So definitely reach out to...
Yeah. If you're genuinely getting after some stuff and you don't just want to come on here and make yourself look cool.
Yeah, I mean, like, because if you come on and make yourself look like a dickhead, we're posting it.
Yeah.
For sure, we're going to clip it too. And then I'll add little captions of, and this is where they look like an idiot.
Yeah.
And we'll post that shit as well. But no, like, legitimate, like, message me. Let's have a talk and tell me what you're after, and then we'll try and sort some stuff out. But potentially next week, we'll have a guest on as well.
Yeah.
And then, because I like that. I like talking to other people. We do it every social event that we go to, we will have this with someone.
Yeah.
And it's always like, fuck, we should get you on. Let's just start getting people on. Let's just start talking.
Yeah,
I'm keen
cool.
to hear it.
Rapid fire. We'll go back and forth. Fucking Jesus Christ.
Oh shit, am I required to answer stuff here?
Yep.
Fuck.
Rapid fire. I want 3 things from both of us that are positive and negative mental capacity things that we do.
I have a good one that I'll start with because it's both. It both can be very negative for me and very positive for me, and that's playing video games.
Yeah. 100%.
That was such an odd response.
I can relate to that
Yeah.
quite a bit. I think for me, video games are more on the negative end,
Yeah.
to be fair. They're very much like if I've got my foot on the brake
Yeah.
and then video games come into the equation, it's me just fucking gassing it over the top of the brakes.
Yeah.
And it feels good while I'm doing it, and then I feel real bad after.
I have a thing that if I'm playing a game and I pull out my phone to look at my phone or anything, why the fuck? I now know I'm using the game as like a little escape for it.
Yeah,
but
yeah.
I have mates that we only really talk on like our games and stuff like that.
Yeah.
And so like every Sunday I'll do a stream and stuff with them as well. So it's very much like
You're a bit more engaged. If you're just doing it as I just want a dopamine hit, and it's like, oh, this isn't enough dopamine. Now I'm on my phone, and you're just like stacking dopamine
Very
things
much
on
so.
top of each other. Then that's obviously like an unhealthy thing that's going to have a negative effect.
Yeah. But I noticed like when I play with that group or I play with like my partner or my brother and stuff like that, like it's
a bit of a social interaction.
We're hanging out with the excuse of games. That's all it is.
Yeah.
Want another one for me?
No, I'll go. So fucking Instagram is a bad one for me. I don't think I need to elaborate that much.
That's fair.
It's fucking...
Instagram's becoming a bad one for me, I think. Just the For You page.
It's fucking... The For You page is fine. Every time I go and search something on Instagram and you click on like I'm just like, oh, what the fuck's that? And then I just like, what was I fucking doing?
Yeah.
You just get lost in it.
Yeah.
I think within reason, it's not like too horrendous. Especially like I try and be pretty intentional about like following people that are like have a positive effect on me when I see their content, whether that's like philosophy type dudes or business dudes or fucking just other motherfuckers that make mad videos. I try and be fairly intentional about the people that I follow so that I do get more positive out of it. Like I do learn something or, just something along those lines.
I tend to, when I do like my culls of stuff, the first criteria is this motherfucker a clout chaser? If they are gone, I do not give a fuck about your pretty anything, male, female, or anything in between. Just fuck off. I don't care. Yeah, so it can be a positive because it's an easy and quite a cheat answer. So I can think some more. Gym.
Yeah,
gym is always, and like the people at the gym, especially like the one I go to, are super good. Like community. I hate that fucking term. Community. We're a family. Fucking bitches. But like a really good group of people.
Yeah.
Because like there's 2 people in particular there that when you see. One of them's a fella named Liam. You'll meet him just because he's a fucking rat bag and just keeps hitting me up about sleeper. But he's also, every time he'll send a message, he's always like, proud of you.
Yeah, see.
Like, thanks, fucking dad. But like, also, thank you.
Yeah.
Love it. He's a fucking good support. Another one who you've heard mentioned before is Darcy. These 2 people, but like, they are people that are getting after their shit, handling their stuff. But they also, every time they see you, they light up. They're the happiest people. Like it's just they make you feel very welcoming in that space as well.
Yeah.
So it's good to feel welcome in a place that then gives you a positive capacity as well.
Yeah. Yeah, for sure. Positive one for me that I haven't already spoken about.
I mean, we spoke about gym. I just cheated and used that one.
We spoke about exercise broadly. I'm going to say like writing is a pretty big one for me.
Yeah.
Writing can be a difficult one for me if I don't have the capacity to kind of do it. That like there is definitely a bit of like an entry hurdle.
Yeah.
That sometimes even if I get to the skate park, I I still don't get over the hurdle if I'm really bad.
Yeah.
But as of recently, riding's been, and I have the excitement at the moment of having new bikes, and so riding's been a big one for me recently.
Yep.
As a positive, hit me with another negative. We might do 2 of each.
Yeah. Another negative. This is heaps harder. I just want to point out, Jack didn't prep me for this at all.
I'm not prepped for this either.
You motherfucker.
Remember when I was typing a minute ago? That's when I thought of this.
This is going to be no. It's not. Another negative that doesn't. I like one that really gets the brake pedal for me is I'm going to have to explain this because I'm going to sound like a wanker when I say it to begin with. The general populace.
Being so popular.
No, being around people. But
I feel like that's just generally a bit of an introvert thing.
Yeah, very much so.
Is that people are exhausting.
It flakes me out a bit. And it's more so as that I dislike entitlement so much. I dislike people that are willing to help or get themselves dirty to make sure that everyone stays clean type thing. And that's a weird term, but that really because that shit'll sit in my mind for a little bit, hey, and then I hold it for a bit longer. People that are just deliberately being reckless for no reason, for just you're just being destructive. People with a destructive nature upset me to the point that it'll hold on to it
for a bit.
Yeah, if I see someone littering or something, this is super weird in the sense of I'm just thinking back to things that have recently happened.
Yeah.
But if I see someone litter, I'll fucking throw something at you. I don't give a shit. And that's what I mean. I'll escalate it far past what it should be because it's now it's stomped me all the way out to 10 on that brake pedal.
Yeah.
And it fucking does me. And then for some time after, if I see someone throw something out of their car, I'll be like, you grubby motherfucker. And then it baits me up, man. I just don't
You need to listen to more of the stoicism shit I've been sending you.
Yeah. Fucking hell, man. Give me another negative. Negatives I find hard on this one, actually.
They are a little bit hard, which is maybe what makes it hard to deal with it when you are in that negative state.
Did we just have an epiphany?
Yeah, a little bit.
Shit.
But maybe that is what makes it a little bit hard to deal with it when you are in that negative state because it can be a little bit hard to put your finger on
the things.
The things that do kind of drag you down.
I challenge people to do this to themselves.
Yeah.
Yeah.
This is a good little thought experiment.
I enjoy this little segment, Bart. We should do this more often.
Yeah. The rapid fire us fucking rambling about it for way too long.
Were we listening to the episode that we recorded? Yeah.
Another negative one.
Yeah, negatives are quite hard on this.
Negatives are hard.
That's
interesting that because I definitely think that without any external influence, if I was just left up to my own devices and didn't fucking steer myself in the right direction, I would crash land in the fucking negative mindset so quickly.
It's weird because if I said, give me 3 negative things about yourself, got 3?
It's sticky, isn't it?
Yeah, but so I could pull 3 negative things about myself immediately.
Yeah.
But to say 3 negative things that alter my mood and because if you can visualize it, if you can vocalize them, you can control them. And so I agree, that is quite a challenge. I'll come back to you.
Yeah, I don't even know if I can honestly it's more. I find it's when I don't do things.
Yeah,
when I don't meditate.
Yeah,
that's a negative thing for me. When I don't exercise, that has a negative effect.
Overthinking, negative effect.
I find I only end up in that state
when I'm
already
very much so
run out of mind share is when I tend to get wrapped up in those things because when I have the capacity to deal with it, I can be a bit more rational about it and be like, I don't need to overthink this. I can it'll be what it is and whatever. I can kind of chill on it a bit more.
Yeah, it was hard to think of things that weren't just general getting up to your alarm. Yeah, that takes some mind share in it.
Yeah.
Going to work, mind share. Sending that fucking email, mind share. Reading that email, mind share.
Yeah.
But like they're basic things. They're things that have to, they're a prerequisite to your day.
Yeah.
So it feels sort of nitpicky to talk about them, but arguably they are the things that set you off.
Yeah, yeah. And I think it's like a compounding effect a little bit of all of those like day-to-day tasks that like, and not that I think you need to avoid day-to-day tasks, but you definitely need
But if you can.
yeah. But like you need to have the capacity to be able to deal with those. And I think that's maybe a little bit more of where this kind of operates is like you're kind of doing microtransactions all day.
Yeah.
And that's why if you don't actively steer into like a positive direction, you kind of naturally drift off into the negative mindset.
That is I was literally just cooking up those almost exact words of the negatives are $2 each.
Yeah.
$2 each negative, and your plus is your whole paycheck. If
it's like when you get paid and then you just like slowly spend money all week and you get paid again and then like
that's what it is. Yeah, 100%.
But I think it's a bit more of a day-to-day thing for me.
Oh, same
in the sense of like mental capacity.
Yeah.
But I literally cannot. Not one that we. Not one at all. I don't think I can pull up another negative thing that affects me.
Right,
just
in,
like
tell us.
What was that?
I said write in and tell us. Write in and tell us.
Yeah, okay. I didn't know what you said to me. Yeah, that's tricky.
I like that.
I would encourage people to do that, because it gets you
Thinking.
to think about it a little bit. Definitely, like, yeah, social media is a big one for me.
Yeah.
Used incorrectly.
Yeah.
Like, overuse is the big one for me.
Yeah. Having expectations or thoughts of reactions do one for me. Like if I expect someone to react or do something.
Expectation. I'm stealing that. That's mine.
Fuck, that was mine. Yeah, very much so. But because if I'm like, right, this is going to be like their reaction, I expect this from them. Get ready to be disappointed.
Yeah.
And then you're shitty about why. Are you like, oh, just fucking do it, man?
Yeah.
Like, yeah.
Yeah. All right. Well, our rapid fire segment fucking went to shit.
Yeah, that bombed. But
anyway.
I mean, like, if someone can do it, fucking tell me.
Yep.
Send it through. Send it through to either of us or the page or. Yeah, arguably send it to the page, but like send it through. I'm happy with the personal messages still as well.
100%.
Yeah,
cool,
loving them.
Sweet. Well, if you got any value out of this, we appreciate.
I'm sorry.
Yeah, if you somehow got some value out of this,
remember Jack's a doctor.
Yeah. We'd appreciate if you could give us a share. It helps out the pod a whole bunch. I've kind of found just from like the little bit of like analytics stuff that I've been looking at, most of the time, like if we're not super active on socials when an episode comes out, those episodes don't do very well. It all kind of drives from socials.
Yeah, okay.
So yeah, if you do get any value out of anything that we talk about, we appreciate a share. Helps out a whole bunch.
Yeah.
I actually see the numbers increase like quite drastically if we have an episode that gets like even just a couple of story posts.
Yeah.
I
love it too. I always like.
I always try and reshare them when I
when we're going places and like we go to the village and people are like, oh, I seen this episode and shit. I got recognised in public the other day. Holy shit.
You're a real podcaster now.
Oh, I fucking, for especially for those that know me in person as well, I just froze up. I just didn't know what to do. I just like put my hands by my side and was like, thank you. Yeah, that's me. Thank you. I fucking shit my pants. Hey, wild.
Fucking hell.
But that dude had a really interesting story. I want him to come on and talk to him. But yeah, anyway, thank you.
Cool. All right. We'll catch you in the next one. Thanks for listening. Appreciate you guys.
Bye.